Hello, I am Suraj, and in this session we will go through the project of ALU design and verification. So we will go through the design file, the arithmetic logic unit design file, and the various test bench creation files for this project. So this is the DUT diagram. So this ALU has 4 inputs and it will have 3 outputs. The inputs would be the multi-pin data bit, which is data A, data B. So these are the 2 operands, input operands to the DUT ALU. Operation select, which tells what kind of operation the DUT is asked to perform. The ALU enable. So this will act as the prerequisite for the DUT. That is the trigger for DUT. Only when ALU enable would be high, the DUT would look at the other inputs and perform the operation. Clock and reset would be provided to the DUT, and the DUT will perform the operation and give the result as an 8-bit result output on the result pin, and it will also give a result valid. Only if the result valid is high, the result shall be considered. And in case of overflow flag, if the output goes beyond the 8 bits, overflow flag shall be asserted by the DUT. Let's go through the DUT specifications in detail. So as we discussed earlier that the ALU enable acts as the prerequisite for DUT. So only when ALU enable is high, the DUT takes data A and data B, the 2 operands, input operands, and performs the operation based on the operation select value. Okay, so the different values, the different possible values of operation select would be addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That is, when the operation select is 0, the DUT shall perform an addition operation on the 2 inputs, that is data A shall be added to data B. When operation select is 1, the DUT shall perform a subtract operation, that is data B shall be subtracted from data A. When the operation select is 2, the 2 operands shall be multiplied, and when the operation select is 3, data A shall be divided by data B. Similarly, when in case of addition and subtraction operations, in case the output, the result bit, the result 8 bit overflows, that is the output cannot be contained in 8 bits, the DUT shall assert an overflow flag, indicating that overflow has happened in this operation. And the same overflow flag shall also be asserted when data B is 0 and the operation select indicates a division operation. That is, when the DUT has been asked to perform a division operation, but the data B operand is 0, because that actually results in infinite values. So these are the cases in which the overflow flag shall be asserted. No overflow flag shall be asserted in multiplication operation, although overflow can happen in multiplication operation as well. But this specification says that in case of multiplication operation, even if overflow happens, the DUT shall not assert the overflow flag, only the output shall be truncated. And in the cycle when ALU enable is asserted, the DUT shall assert result valid in the next cycle. That is, it is a condition on the DUT to perform the operation, any kind of operation, whether it be addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Any operation shall be completed within one cycle, and result valid shall be asserted at the passage of the next clock. So if we go through the wires once again, after understanding the specifications, it would make it will be better understood by you guys that the data A and data B are the 2 multi-pin input operands. Operation select is a 2-bit value, so 4 possible operations can be told to the DUT, which could be addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And apart from these three inputs, the DUT shall also be given an ALU enable input, which will be as an trigger for the DUT. So, and all the operations shall be performed at the passage of clock. That is a condition for the DUT. The DUT will sample the inputs at the passage of clock, and it will give the outputs at the next passage of clock. Result N is an active low wire, which is an asynchronous reset. At any point during the simulation, if reset N is activated, because it is active low, that means that if it is asserted, if it is given a value of 0, the DUT will stop performing all the operations immediately. and will start looking at the next data as and when the reset gets deactivated. Just to make it a bit more clear, the two conditions for the DUT are that the clock should be running, it will take the inputs at the passage of clock, drive the outputs at the passage of clock, and it will work only when reset is deactivated. As soon as the reset is activated, the DUT will stop performing and will wait for the reset to become deactivated, and then will again start looking for the data inputs at the next passage of clock. And as soon as the passage of clock comes, it will look at the first input that it looks at is ALU enable. If any ALU enable is high, it will sample the other inputs at the same passage of clock, which are the data A, data B, and operation select. Based on the value of operation select given to the DUT, it will perform the operations on the two operands data A and data B. The output shall be driven on result at the next passage of clock, and the result valid shall also be asserted at the same passage. And in case during the addition operation or subtraction operation the result overflows, that is, it cannot be contained in 8 bits, it will the overflow flag shall be asserted. And if it is a division operation and data B operand is 0, then also the overflow flag shall be asserted. No overflow flag shall be asserted in multiplication operation. So what we'll do now is that the next step would be to go through the design file. Since design is not the only motive here, we'll go through the design file and explain the ALU design in detail. We'll also go through the test bench files and explain how the test bench for this is created and how we make sure that the ALU is verified correctly, and how we can identify different bugs, or we try to identify different bugs in the design by giving different corner cases. Let's go to the design file first of all. So this is a typical design file of the ALU. Since we have understood that the design is written in Verilog, this is a Verilog file. This is a Verilog code. Module is a keyword in Verilog, and ALU DUT is the name of the DUT. Okay, so this is the name of the module ALU DUT. Although we have told that the inputs are 8-bit and they will be 8-bit in this test bench and design, but we have kept it parameterized. So keeping it parameterized will help in reuse. That is, even in future if we want to verify it on a bigger number of input operands or on a smaller number of input operands, it can be done. Let's say in future we want to make the data A and data B as 4-bit inputs. So in that case we would not need to increase, or we will not need to decrease the data width value for all of them. That is, in all of the code we just need to pass the parameter as data width equal to 4. Everything will be taken care of internally. So as we saw in the DUT specification and the diagram, the DUT has 6 inputs apart from the clock and reset, the 2 inputs. The DUT takes ALU enable, data A and data B, which are of size data width, and a 2-bit operation select. So these will be the inputs of DUT, and it will drive data out, which is again of the size data width, result valid, and overflow flag, which is named as just flag. So in the case, if we just go below this, so what we have done here is we have tried to assign the 2 outputs, which are the data output and the overflow flag, using a simple condition. Since we have just seen that it is an asynchronous reset in this case, so only if reset is deactivated, the result will be driven on the flag. And if the reset is activated, because it's an active low, so it becoming a 0 indicates that it is active now. If the reset is active, the flag would be 0 because the DUT has stopped performing the operation, so the flag would be 0. But if the reset is deactivated, then we would check the MSB bit of the result. If the MSB bit of result is high, we would assert the flag. So if we just look at the result is not of size data width, it is 1 bit more than the data width. So if it is an 8-bit operation, we have declared the result as a 9-bit input, 9-bit variable. Okay, So in that case, the 9th bit will indicate if overflow happened during the test case. So we just look at the MSB bit, and if it is 1, we say that the flag is 1, that is the overflow flag is 1. Similarly, the data out would be the LSB 8 bits of the result. Since the result is 1 bit more than the actual data bit, the MSB would be used to figure out the overflow flag, and the LSB bits, all the bits other than the MSB, would be considered as the data output. And as we saw in the specifications, that the condition for DUT to perform is that the reset should be deactivated and the clock should be running. So what we have written here is that, so this always block, how it works is that this always block is sort of an ever running block which waits for this condition at the rate condition. So as soon as this condition happens, it starts executing again and again. So let's say we are coming here for the very first time. So what we'll do is the DUT will come here, it will wait for this condition to happen. So the condition here is that either passage of clock comes or the negate of reset comes. Since reset is an active low signal and clock is an active high signal, so either the passage of clock comes or the negate of reset comes. We will come inside and we will see if it is a negate of reset, that is if the reset has become activated, it means as we saw that the DUT will stop performing the operation. So the very first condition we look at is if the reset has higher priority. If the reset becomes activated, we will stop performing the operation and the result value will be simply assigned to 0, and the result will also be driven to 0. I think that makes it very clear that the reset has the highest priority. As soon as the reset becomes activated, the DUT stops performing the operations, drives all the outputs to 0. Now let's say the reset was not activated and the passage of clock has come. So in that case, what we do is that since ALU enable is the trigger for DUT, it will first of all look at if at this passage of clock ALU enable is high. If ALU enable is high, the DUT looks at the operation select. So if we just understand the flow, how the DUT works, for the very first thing it looks at the clock and reset. The reset should be deactivated, passage of clock should have come. The very next thing it looks at is the ALU enable. So once the passage of clock has come and the reset is deactivated, if the ALU enable is high, that means that there is something for the DUT to do. So if ALU enable is high, it looks at what kind of operation have I been asked to do. If the operation selects, it is a case statement. So if operation select is 0, 0, that means it is an addition operation. So that means at the passage of clock, the DUT has been asked to perform an addition operation. So in that case, what it does is that it takes the two input operands, data A and data B, adds them, puts the value into result. Since the DUT specification says that the DUT is also supposed to drive the result value to high, so it, apart from driving the result value, output value, it also asserts the reset valid. And the same thing happens in all 4 possible cases. It could either be addition, subtraction, multiplication or division. In all 4 cases, you would see the result valid going to high. Okay, so the result valid is driven to high unconditionally, and the data is also driven. Like in case of addition, the 2 are added. In case of subtraction, data B is subtracted from data A. In case of multiplication, the 2 are multiplied together. So if you remember, we saw that in case of multiplication, there is no overflow flag, but we have simply multiplied the 2 of them. If data A and data B are multiplied together, it is possible that the output could be more than 8 bits. But since the result is a 9-bit value, so even if the overflow has happened, we'll simply say that it will be truncated automatically. So it is a feature of the language in which if the 2 of them gets multiplied and it results in more than the output bit definition, the output gets truncated automatically. Similarly, we see that if during division operation, the data B, that is the second operand, is 0, which will result in infinity as the output, we will simply drive the result as all ones, that will make the flag as 1. in which case the result, actually the 8 bits will be ignored by the user, but the overflow flag will indicate that something wrong has happened. And if data B is not 0, we will perform the operation data A divided by data B, and the result valid is also asserted. So in this case, you would see that at the passage of clock, that at every time, so this was the first time we came inside this always block. So once this operation is performed, the DUT will come inside. Let's say the very first time it was asked to perform an addition operation. So it performed the operation, drove the outputs, came to the end. Now since the always is an ever running block, it will come back again. Come back to this condition, wait for this condition to happen. And at the next passage of clock, it will again start looking for ALU enable. Now let's say during the simulation, it has so happened that there is no operation for, let's say, 10 clock cycles. So what the DUT will do is that it will come here, it will keep coming here because the passage of clock is coming. The clock is ever running. The passage of clock comes at the designated frequency. But since the ALU enable is not high, that means the DUT has not been asked to perform any operation. It just keeps rotating here, keeps coming at the passage of clock, not doing anything, moving to the next passage. Okay, like that it happens. And when we say that the DUT performs the operation and drives at the next passage of clock, that is made sure by this construct of the Verilog language. So this indicates that the DUT will drive the data at the next passage of clock. Okay, so it has sampled the data at this passage of clock, and this construct, the one that we have selected in the window, makes sure that the output will be driven at the next passage of clock. And similarly, so what we have seen here is that this module is an ever running module. When it is instantiated in the environment, it runs forever, keeps looking for clock and reset expected values, and if they are as per expectation, then it keeps looking for the ALU enable to see if there is any operation for me, and based on the operation select, it performs the operation, drives the output, and if during the simulation there is, for some amount of time, there is no operation to be performed, it will keep coming here, keep looking for data, and as and when it comes, performs the operation, drives the output on the output value. And if at any point during the simulation the reset is asserted by the user, that is, the system needs to be reset, then it will come and will see that the reset has been deactivated and will drive out all the outputs to 0, will wait for the reset to become deactivated again, and then will again start looking for the input values. So this is a basic crux of the DUT. The next part would be to go through the test bench detail, how test bench is created, how do we verify this ALU design. We'll go through all the process. That would be the next session.